Hi, I'm Chet Haas, an engineer on the Android team at Google. I work on graphics and animation, and today I wanted to talk about drawable animation. Specifically, I want to talk about the transition drawable. This is a way to provide a capability for you to crossfade between representations of graphics in your views. So let's take a quick look at the demo, which I call CrossFading. It's a fascinating demo that's going to crossfade between two colored rectangles, exactly the kind of activity that you probably want to write and sell on the Play Store. So here we have a red rectangle, and when I click on it, we're going to see a green rectangle. And when we click on the green one, we're going to see the red one, and back and forth. And if we click in the middle, it'll stop the animation and go in reverse. Okay, so not terribly interesting. The code is slightly more interesting. Let's take a look at that now. So we have this class called CrossFading. It's an activity. It keeps track of the current drawables so that it knows which one to transition to. And we can go in here and see how we do that. First, we get the image view. Then we create a couple of bitmaps. We're going to create a red bitmap and a green bitmap and put them in the image view. But instead of just installing it as the drawable in the image view, we're actually going to create this different kind of drawable called a transition drawable. And this one takes an array of objects, these drawables that we've created, these bitmap drawables that now hold the red and the green bitmaps. So we create the transition drawable with those, and you can think of this as being layers in that drawable. So it's a transition drawable that's actually a set of drawables consisting of two. And the red one is the first one that we created, so that's going to be in back, and the green one is in front. But the green one is not visible by default, right? So it's kind of an invisible layer sitting on top of the first one that you loaded there. And then when we click, we're going to fade between these. So we go down here and we listen for clicks on the image view. If the current drawable is 0, which means we're now looking at the red one, that first one loaded, then we must need to start the transition so that we can see the green one on top. So we say start transition and we give it a duration. So this time it's going to run for 500 milliseconds, and then it'll fade in the green one over the red. So it's not really doing a crossfade. Instead, you see the red one and then we basically fade in the green one on top of it. And then we set the current drawable so that we can track that so that we know next time we click which one are we going to transition to. If you want to go in reverse, you don't start the transition because start transition always fades in the one that's on top. So if we did that every time, you would always see the fade into green, which is probably not the kind of crossfade effect that you're looking for. Instead, if we want to go into reverse, we need to fade out the one on top. And to do that, you call reverse transition. So reverse transition will basically fade out the one that's on top, and then you see the one, the first one that was loaded, the one that's on the bottom. So we start transition, we fade in the green. Reverse transition, we fade out to red. If we do it in the middle, that's fine. If we're in the middle of start transition, we're halfway there, and then we click on it, then we know that we need to go back to red, and we call reverse transition. It just stops and reverses on the fly. This is kind of a useful effect if you want to do something really simple to crossfade between representations of two drawables. It's not really good for a general crossfading system. If you have a picture viewer, let's say, where you're going between several different images, there'd be a little bit more tracking to say, okay, well, now these are my two drawables, now these are my two drawables. There's probably a better way of doing this, which we'll see in a future episode, using a more robust animation system. But for doing really simple crossfades between two bitmap drawable representations, this is a pretty easy class to use. And that's it for today. Thanks.